Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a 3 looks, 1 palette / review with the Pat McGrath Moonlit Seduction palette. I recently picked this up from Sephora with a purchase from my Pan Over Purchase project, and I'm excited and nervous to review this and use this. I had picked up the Midnightsun Palette when did I review that? Last August, so about 14 months ago, and I had a really hard time with that palette. I actually ended up decluttering it, but it's been over a year. I heard a lot of really good things about this, so I picked it up and I want to give, the formulation another try, and hopefully I like it better. My makeup style and techniques have evolved, so I'm going to try some different things and see if I can get the formulation to work a lot better for me. We will see. But yeah, if you're new here, hey, my name is Megan. I post every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday for you guys. So yeah, be sure to subscribe if you like this video. If you like me, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and let's go ahead and start playing with the makeup. Okay, so I'm definitely a little bit nervous just because I did not have a good experience last time I tried out one of the big Pat McGrath palettes, so I'm just like, ooh. In here, I don't have like a good setting shade for me personally. There are only 3 mattes in the palette, this one, and this one. So to start my look, I do want to set the lid, so I'm just gonna go in with my Tati shade and set it, because I did prime my lids with my Urban Decay Potion Primer. I am gonna try a little bit of a different method than I did the first time I tried her palettes, and we'll see if that helps or does anything for us. I've heard the formula in this palette is her best, so that's why I had decided to pick it up and try it again. So we'll see, I'm scared but also feeling optimistic. Like I mentioned, I am going to try a little bit of a different technique. So instead of going all in with like a color and whatnot, because there really isn't a lot of colors to do that, I'm just going to go in with one, and I'm going to use that to do like the whole buildup of everything and outside, and then we're going to just lay one of these pretty shimmery shades on the top. That's what I'm going to try. So I'm going to go into this shade right here, and that is what I'm going to use it for. I'm just going to stamp this around. Now, last time, I really struggled with the mattes. So, fingers crossed. I will be saving my thoughts on this palette until the very end, because not only is this like a 3 looks 1 palette, but it's a review as well. So I'll save my thoughts until the end. If I have any creasing or anything like that, I will like film it, photograph it, whatever, document it so that I can show you guys at the end. But obviously, when you're here, you can also see what is going on. I definitely feel like it's patchy. Like, look, you guys. Dark here, a patch here, dark here, blended out nice here. And like I feel like the tapping motion is so just like foolproof for so many different shadows. And I thought that that would work really well with these, but apparently not. So I'm just gonna try and blend. I'm gonna add a little bit more and try to windshield wiper it The tone itself is really pretty. I do like that. Does anyone have any tips for working with her mattes? Because the last time I used one of her larger palettes, I had this same issue of patchiness. And it's just crazy to me that for like $130, that the mattes are so problematic. You know? Okay, I feel like once we get everything done, it won't, the patchiness probably won't be as noticeable. But it's still just so crazy to me. I mean, maybe I just need to blend longer, but I don't want to like blend it away because we already have some patches, you know? And I want to do this, like, sorry if there's like lulls, but like I do want to do this in more like real time so that you guys can see the time I'm spending on these shadows. I try to always do that in these videos for at least one or two of the looks. You can see in real time like the amount of time I'm spending. I'm gonna go in with a glitter primer and tap that on my lid, where I'm gonna put those special shades. Last time I didn't do this. Last time I just like wetted it and stuck them on, and I experienced like really terrible creasing. So I'm hoping that with this NYX glitter primer, I don't experience that. That is my hope now that I've discovered this beautiful product. I'm gonna go in with this shade here, really pretty. It has like has a really pretty flip. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but yeah, so pretty. It actually reminds me a little bit of, dang, what was that one I had from JD Glow that looked so similar to this? Oh, I cannot recall, but JD Glow has a shadow just like this, but yeah, that looks like super stunning on the eye. I really hope that it holds up. I will try putting these on with a brush as well. I know last time that didn't work for me, so I just went in with my finger this time. But I will try it with a brush as well, just in case, I don't know, something changed or something. Yeah, that shimmer shade is gorgeous, which I think is kind of like what caught my eye in the palettes anyways. There isn't much fallout at all. I do have like a little bit to clean up, but really there's not a lot of fallout. So I am gonna hop off, do the rest of my face, come back to give you guys a close-up, and yeah, so I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, so here is the final look. I will zoom you in so you can get a little bit of a closer look-see. I will say I am already experiencing a little bit of fallout from the shimmer shade, which I try to kind of avoid shadows like that because I don't typically set my face with powder, especially in the winter. So when I get fallout like that, it can be a little tricky / risky to remove, because if you're not setting your face, it's easier for that to leave color behind or create streakiness. So yeah, I'm not into that, but I'll keep an eye on it throughout the day to see maybe if it was just like some initial fallout or if I keep experiencing it. I did go in with this deep shade here, and that is what I used on the lower lash line. I do think this look is really pretty. It actually reminds me of a look I used to create with a Kylie Cosmetics palette that I had. So it's like a bit nostalgic. I think it's beautiful. As you saw, I did struggle with the mattes. Like I said, once I got that shimmer all over the lid though, I don't feel like you see as much of the flaws with the matte shades now that I have, you know, the mascara, the liner, and all of that. It kind of disguises a lot of those imperfections, which is good. But yeah, this is all for look number 1 with the Pat McGrath palette. Let's go ahead and jump into look number 2. Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing look number 2 with the Moonlit Seduction. So I want to go ahead and we're just going to hop right in. I have primed my eyes and I set them down with my powder. So I'm going to go into this shade here. I did swatch this out, so I will go ahead and insert the swatches for you guys, which kind of inspired this look because I really want to use this darker brown cool toned color, and then I want to use the one that looks like a really beautiful silver. So that is what we are going to be using today. I did post on my Instagram stories a little question box because I was like, you know, I feel like so many people love Pat McGrath. I was like, how do you apply the mattes in the Pat palette? Because I always have a really hard time with them. And people said, you know, set with a powder. People said windshield wiper. People said tap. And I've tried all those basic things. So like, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just think that maybe they're just not great mattes. You know what I mean? Like this one, I will say I think is blending a little bit better than the pink shade that we used yesterday, which is this one up here. I do think we're getting a little bit of a better blend out of this one. I'm also going in with an even fluffier brush, so I don't have as much control, but I was hoping it would help distribute the product a little bit better. And it looks like it is. Like this looks so much better already than yesterday's look. So I am pleased with that. It's taking a little bit of time to build it up, which I don't mind. Because it does already just look so much better than yesterday's. So maybe the trick is to just use like a really fluffy brush. We'll see, I don't know. It's like so weird because I want to go in and like tap. Well, because one of the responses did say they use tapping motions, but it just didn't work for me, unfortunately. This one is getting a little patchy out here, but for the most part, it is, like I said, blending a lot better than yesterday. I really like this shade. So it's killing me. Like the shades in this palette are really pretty. Like the tones, gorgeous. Like I'm not usually into like grays, but this is like a really pretty gray tone. And I feel like it just complements my eyes really well. Okay. Now I'm going to go in with my NYX glitter primer. And I'm going to just stick a bit of this on. I'm baking cookies right now, and I'm so excited. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Oh, haven't baked cookies in like a pretty long time, so really pumped about them. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with this shade here, and I'm just gonna use my finger to apply it. Looks like a really pretty, it did look a little bit more brown base in the swatch. It's pulling pretty straight silver on my lid. It does, I mean, it still does look pretty. I'm not saying it's not pretty because it's still pretty. But not what I was imagining. Like, I thought it would be deeper in tone a little bit. But still really pretty. Okay, I'm gonna pop off real quick, just do a few finishing touches, and then I'll be back. Okay, so here's the finished look. I felt like it needed a little something extra, so I added a bit of my Dual Drama liquid liner from Deco Scarlet. I really like the shifts in this. They are like purple to blue, really pretty. I'll zoom you guys in so that you can see the look. I think it's pretty. I did have a little bit of an easier time with this, fortunately. I do think, though, I could probably get something fairly similar out of my Natasha Denona Glam palette, so that's something also for me to think about. I think for the last look, I do want to use the last matte in the palette, so I'm thinking I'm going to use these two. I think those would be really pretty together. These two shades here. So that is my thought. But yeah, okay, let's go ahead and jump into look number 3. Okay, guys, here we go. Last look with the palette. I did already prime my eyes, and I set them down with my eyeshadow. Oh my gosh, it's morning time. I just started drinking my coffee. I set them down with this, so we have that to work with. I am gonna go ahead and go into this shade here and start blending that into the transition a little bit, because I thought maybe we could do this in the transition, do a sparkly shade, and maybe do that deep shade to deepen the outer corner, maybe. I was kind of thinking. We'll see. That's what I was drawn to yesterday, so, and it'll give me an opportunity to try out 2 new shades, so 1, 2. So still, I wouldn't have tried 4 shades, but I think I have, for the most part, my opinion intact. Okay, this shade, a little patchy, but still none of them are looking as bad as that first one did. So that is good. I will film my final thoughts this morning as well. So if I, for some reason, experience creasing today, I will update that in the description box. But I haven't yet, so I'm willing to risk it. And then we'll see. Again, I'm going in with a fluffier brush. I feel like it's doing a better job than when I was going in with a more like, and it wasn't even that much more, but a little bit of a denser brush. I think maybe that's made the difference in the patchiness, like, or lack thereof. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't look bad. I'm just like building it up like so slowly, trying to buff it out and cover up the patches. You guys, it's times like these where like I actually wish I had a legitimate camera to film on with like a monitor and everything, so that I could like really get you guys in close with like a good picture to see what I'm talking about. But like when I film on my iPhone, it's hard to do that. Like I could probably get a pretty good picture if I flipped it around. But then if I flip it around, I can't see what I'm doing. So I feel like it probably wouldn't be like, you know, that beneficial at all. Also, I just realized my camera is like sideways. Oh, well, whatever. Okay, so now I'm going to go back into this deep shade here. And I'm going to just use that on the outer corner. And I am going to go in with this brush. This is the brush that I originally tried to tap everything out with during the first look. But I'm going to just use it for the shadow on the outside. And hopefully that's fine, since we have the other shadow already down. But I just thought that some depth with this would be nice. Since the other two looks, I just did the matte and then the shimmer. Because that's how I prefer to do eyeshadow too. I like to have some depth to it. Which I guess with like a limited amount of mattes, that can be a little more challenging. But like, I feel like you could do a lot with this shade. I mean, as you saw yesterday, or not yesterday, geez. In the second look, I used this all over the lid and it looked good. And I feel like you could pair this shade with a lot of the shades in the palette. So it's really versatile. I feel like they're layering pretty well. There's like a patch here and a patch here. But I'm not gonna like focus too hard on it. I don't have any like meetings today or anything like that, so it will be what it will be. I think that looks all right. I'm gonna bring it in just a smidge. There we go. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with my NYX glitter glue, and oh my goodness. Okay, it's happened to us all before. Self-tanning, whoops. Oh my gosh, just ignore that. Oh my Lord. What the heck? I must have just decided not to rub that area of my arm. Nice, 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 nice. Can't wait to wear a short sleeve with that. Gonna be cute. Oh, dead. I'm a mess, you guys. So glad I'm filming this on a 4-day week. So thank goodness. And my mug is screaming the truth right now. If Brittany can make it through 2007, you can handle today. Sometimes I gotta remind myself of that. We can do it. We can do it. Okay, so the shade I was thinking is this shade here. And then maybe I'll top a little bit with this shade over here. So let's go ahead and go in with it. It has a rose gold tint, which is really pretty. And then I'm just going to dip into that gold just a smidge. And tap that on the center. Just to give us a little something something. There we go. Okay, I am going to hop off, finish the look, and then when I come back, I'm going to share my final thoughts / my review of the Moonlit Seduction palette. Okay, you guys, I'm back, and this is the finished look. Number 3, I will insert, per usual, a little bit of a close-up so you guys can see it a little bit closer and personal. I did just want to go ahead and go over my final thoughts of the PMG Moonlit Seduction palette. Per usual, she is one of the only luxury brands, in my opinion, that gives you the feeling of luxury packaging. It is a bit bulky, which makes it hard to actually use the mirror. But at least you feel like, you know, I paid $130 for this and it carries some weight. Whereas a lot of other luxury brands, in my opinion, don't give you that feeling. And that's the thing. Keep in mind, if you love this palette, like, good for you. I'm jealous. But this is based on, you know, my experience and my preferences. So keep that in mind. The first look that we did, we went in with this matte shade here. And I had a lot of trouble blending that, as you guys saw. I went in with a smaller fluffy brush and it just would not blend out. It was super, super patchy. However, I was able to cover that up by the time I got the shimmer on the lid, the mascara on, the liner on, so it wasn't as apparent. So that was good. The shimmer that I wore was this one. I think that it's really beautiful. I do think that I have a very similar one in a Huda palette, but it is very pretty. I didn't experience any creasing. I think that because I used my NYX glitter glue, we were able to avoid creasing, which I'm so grateful for because that was an experience that was poor for me last time. So I'm glad that I had a better experience with that. The second look, I went in with this shade and I didn't have as much trouble blending this one as I did this one over here. I switched to a longer fluffy brush and still I had to be really careful, build things up. I mean, you guys saw, build it up really, really slow. And it just, you know, it took a lot of time and finessing. It still had a bit of patchiness, but it looked much better than the one before. I then went into this silvery shade here, which, like, when I swatched it, it seemed like it had, see how it has a little bit, it's silver, but it has like, it looks like it has like a dark brown base. And I was like wanting that to come through a little more and it didn't. And that's just like something nitpicky. But it was very pretty. And then as I talked about a little bit toward the end of that look, I think I could get a very similar look. Probably a look that I like better out of my Natasha Denona Glam palette. So that look wasn't like revolutionary for me, even though I really did like that tone of shadow. And then today, I really do like the way that the shadows complement each other. I used this one and I used this one. They look really nice together. I didn't have as much trouble with patchiness. Again, I went into with a fluffy brush, build up really, really slow in windshield wiper motions. And then when I added the darker shade, I went in with a tapping motion like I normally do, but it was having a little bit of a hard time. Not surprised. And then I used this shimmer shade and this shimmer shade, layered them, and I do think that they look really pretty. They look really sparkly. And then I took this on the lower lash line there, which I think looks nice. Like I said, I didn't experience any creasing. I also didn't experience any like bleeding on the lower lash line. With the shimmery shades, I did experience some fallout throughout the day, which I mentioned kind of is an issue for me just because I don't typically powder my face, especially in the winter. So that can really mess up the base makeup. I also wanted to know, I didn't use this one on my eye, but it feels really like dry and flaky, like it's weird. I should have used it on the eye to see how it performed, but I didn't have time to do a fourth look really. But I don't know. I'm like, I'm kind of like kicking myself because, you know, I tried a Pat McGrath palette, like I said, 14 months ago. I'll link that review if you want to see it. And I had a lot of the same qualms. I definitely had a better experience this time than last time. The shimmers they just worked a lot better for me. But the mattes I still really had trouble with. But I wanted to try it again because I was like, okay, like maybe I just, you know, got a bad palette. Like that does happen sometimes. So I wanted to, you know, give it a go, that sort of thing. And I do feel like this palette overall is pretty versatile. Like you could pair, I know there's only 3 mattes, but I feel like you could pair those 3 mattes with a lot of these shimmers and it would look really, really nice. I just feel a little underwhelmed, if you will. I think that, you know, a lot of other brands have come really far with their formulations. So this isn't like the end all be all. Like I said, I think especially like Huda has come a long way. Like her shimmers are just as beautiful and impactful, if not more, than the Pat McGrath ones. And, you know, I'm not saying the Pat McGrath ones aren't beautiful because they are. But when it comes to that, you know, $130 price point, I expect them to bring something new to the table or outperform or outshine what is already in my collection because of the price tag. And I don't feel like these shimmers outperform anything in my collection. Like, yeah, they're pretty, but they're not the best in my collection. And I think what really deters me is the mattes. Like I cannot wrap my mind around how terrible these mattes are for the price point. Like it just doesn't even make sense to me. Like with a Natasha Denona matte, it basically blends itself. Effortlessly beautiful. You have to put a lot of work into these, and even then they don't always look good. And I just feel, again, for the price point, like you have to bring, you know, you have to bring it to the table. And I feel like if these mattes were really good, I would be more inclined to hang on to this. But I know myself, and I'm not going to reach for this because I'm not going to want to fuck around with the mattes. Like, they're just too finicky. They take too much time. They have a tendency to be too patchy. And I just don't feel like again, not to beat a dead horse, but for $130, I should be relying on the shimmer, my eyeliner, and my mascara to kind of conceal the patchiness that we get from the mattes. You know what I mean? And it makes me sad because, like, looking at this, like, it looks so beautiful. This looks like something I would love and use all the freaking time. And I want to. Like, that's why I'm having a hard time with it, because, like, I want to love it, you guys. I want to. Like, I want it to be the end all be all. I want it to be my favorite. But, like, it's just not. And I was talking to Steph last night, and I was just like, you know, when you try a new palette and you're excited, and the first look you create, like, it's so beautiful, you're obsessed, you love it, and, like, it's palettes like that you hang on to. And we were talking about it because we were like, yeah, the Natasha Denona Dream Palette. I was like, from look number 1, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. Like, you know, it really just swept me off my feet. Whereas, you know, this didn't have that effect. I was, like, actually pretty pissed off by the time I was done with look 1 because of how poorly that matte performed. And I just feel like, you know, I've grown a lot this year, and I know myself, and I know I'm not going to reach for this. So instead of keeping it because I feel like I should, I am going to return it, unfortunately. And this will probably be the last Pat McGrath palette that I try. I just think that the formulation like isn't for me, and that's okay. It's just not for me. So I don't want to keep purchasing them and creating waste. I did wait a pretty hefty amount of time before I tried another one of her palettes, so I don't feel too bad about it. But yeah, this is just too expensive for me to hold on to just because. So yeah, unfortunately, you guys, this is a miss for me. I do feel like I gave it a solid chance. I tried different techniques, different brushes. My brushes were clean. You know, whatever. I tried all this stuff. But at the end of the day, a drugstore matte outperforms these so easily that it's crazy to me. Like, I guess that's my biggest qualm. Like, I cannot get past the fact that drugstore mattes are better than those. Like, I can't move past it. So that is my thoughts. I know they are a little long-winded, but I just kind of wanted to talk about it and, you know, share my experience and my thought process behind it not working out for me. That way, if you're on the fence or thinking about picking it up as well, maybe this could be helpful to you. Yeah, but that is it. If you stuck around, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Please do hit that like button before you leave. It really helps my channel out. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye!